ready? Niko hapo. Huyu fotografa wao huyu. Gari naona sasa hizo block. Shafi. Move, eh? Kibeta tuwezi kuwa side moja. Huyu jamaa yuko kwa hii mix yetu, si ndio? Eso iko sawa.
do a quick round of introductions. Before that, just allow me to give a very good welcome. Our SGO NRM and SGO UDA, together with delegation from both parties, and welcome you to this iconic building, the City Hall. Of course, it has a lot of our past legacy. It was built in the 30s. But the room we are in used to be a room where no one of our colors was allowed for a long time. And even the white man, they only allowed the white men who owned land. The rest would have to go up there to the valley to what was the elderly, that time the councillors with the transact business. So now we are here, several generations, African local leadership, homegrown leadership. I was born 2 kilometers from here, in a map with the first governor born in the city. And so we're really happy that we come and that we returned the favor. We were hosted very well when we were in Kampala. We were hosted very well by your national chairman, who is the president of the Republic of Uganda. And please make sure you pass out the card. So I'll ask my team to introduce themselves quickly. I have just a few of my officers, starting with the Chief of Staff.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Njoroge. I'm the Chief of Staff, Nairobi County. Karibuni sana Nairobi.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Your Excellency. My name is Susan Sinantoi. I'm the CEC for Health, Wellness, and Nutrition. I'm in charge of health in Nairobi.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. SG SG UDA. My name is Priscilla Mahinda. I'm the Chief of Staff in charge of the Office of the Governor, and I'm also the host of the
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Ivan Luka, the Acting Chief Officer Security and Compliance. Welcome to Nairobi, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is James Widi, Commandant, City Inspectorate Training College.
And well done. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, SG Uganda and SG Kenya. Karibuni sana to Nairobi.
Kogota, Director.
Director Programs and Partnerships, UDA Party.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Anne Lagarde from State House.
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Gillo, Director Communications, UDA.
All protocols observed. My name is Grace Muruki, Director Events and Logistics, UDA Party.
Good afternoon, everyone. SG, Your Excellency. My name is Sam Mwangi, Director Membership, UDA Party.
Your Excellencies, the rank and file of the various leadership. My name is Nathaniel Mungare. I'm the Director for Political Affairs, Resource Mobilization and Diaspora Affairs at the UDA Party.
Your Excellency, the Governor, Honorable Secretaries, my name is Omulo Jr. I'm the director in charge of county affairs and devolution in the UDA party.
I should see you more often, Omulo. Congratulations. Are we okay? Thank you so much. SG, we've been really looking forward to this.
Sure.
Better late than never. I think we should have done this a long time ago.
Sure.
Together with your colleagues. I hope you've had a warm welcome to Nairobi, and that you must know you're always welcome to this city. This city is yours, because the partnership and brotherhood between our parties is extremely, extremely important. My SG has been there a couple of times, and when we were there, we learned a lot from the president and the national chairman. I believe in political parties and strengthening them. I was once chairman of a past ruling party in Kenya. It was called the National Alliance for 5 years. And even then, we were trying to really build a strong institution. As you can see, my team has a blend of young and old people. But we really believe in infusing the energy of our young people, because that is the future of our continent and of our country. Kenya is young, the median age is 19, but Uganda is younger. The median age is 17. And because of that, we must recognize the young people as the trustees of our country's posterity and the future of our political parties. And once we instill, those ideals of democracy, of good governance, and even as we remember why we are here, just yesterday, the day before yesterday, I had a huge delegation of our freedom fighters, the Mau Mau. And it was led by one Gitu Wakaengeri, who is 101 years old. And he said him just being here makes him happy, and should always remind us why they fought for our independence, and which is why I was just telling you the colonial heritage of this building. And the same is the case in your country, And even as we deal with and grapple with the challenges of today, we must never forget where we've come from, because that gives us perspective. And I often say perspective is greater than vision. Perspective reminds you where you're from, gives you a full understanding of where you are, and then now you can look forward to a future. But if you have vision only, vision is blind. Vision forgets the past struggles. I was very happy to see when you commemorated your party's anniversary that you still hold true to the ideals of why NRM was formed and the stability that your country has had. Our country, our governance structure is one of devolved government. We have the national government and 47 county governments. Nairobi being largely the biggest county government in the country, with a population of 7 million people, a GDP of $28 billion, which is huge. If Nairobi was a country, it would be Africa's 19th richest country. Uganda's GDP is $46 billion. Rwanda is 11. Burundi is 2. So we are somewhere there, just after Uganda as Nairobi. But that comes with a lot of challenges that we have in our country. With that young population, counties have to play a big role in providing crucial services to our people. Our constitution devolves a lot of functions. It devolves power and fiscal responsibilities. So our governors are directly elected by the people. I have currently 2.4 million voters in the city. And you must go and get a direct election. Before it was just like your mayoral, where the councillors would elect, the mayor or the government would appoint a town clerk, or the case as it were. But now we have to go get that mandate, because Kenyans felt for a long time that too much power was concentrated in the center. And there was a need for for communities to have self-expression with the leaders that they choose across the country. So devolution is a great, great gift we consider in our country. Because of that, we've been able to develop a lot of things. We've been able to build hospitals and to serve millions of residents. I run 124 hospitals in this city of all sizes. We've been able to support education. We run the biggest feeding program on the continent, feeding 300,000 children every day. Because many of our urban poor, actually close to 25% were missing school regularly because of hunger. And urban hunger is really, or rather urban poverty, in our context. If you don't have money in a city, you'll have nowhere to stay, nothing to eat. your country has been blessed with abundance. And you remember His Excellency President Museveni telling us that then can lead you to the folly of imagining you're prosperous because you can eat, because you don't feel the pain of poverty. But because of being blessed with production, people relax. Unfortunately, we don't have that luxury in our city, and so we have to provide that. And because of that, our school enrollment has gone up by 40%. We now have 310,000 in our public schools and another close to 600,000 in our informal schools. Our deputy SG is a passionate teacher and a believer in education. And I'll invite you one day to come tour, because in a year I built 17 large kitchens and in all constituencies. And all our children now, you can see the performance has gone up. You can see they're happier, they're healthy, and all those indicators. And they can feel why we got devolution. And so there are many programs we run. We provide water services, sanitation services, transport management, and many others that we can discuss at a later date. But the point really is that our political parties must really strengthen issues of governance within our structures of administration. Many times our political parties are focused more on the politics of winning the election and then planning for the next election. And then, of course, a leadership institute is good, because that then reminds us of why we got independence in the first place, why we were governing in the first place. One of the dreams I had when I was chair of TNA was being able to do scorecards for our governors every 2 years, a midterm review of their manifestos and how they've been able to achieve, and also helping to build capacity within the devolved unit, because devolution is a key feature of our constitution. So I'm really, really happy to host you. And SG, I'm very happy, because since you took over as SG of our party, we're now seeing a party that is alive, a party that is based on ideals of democracy, a party that is reaching out. I've seen you reaching out across the world. And you can always count on us to be there whenever we are called as loyal supporters and members of our party. So karibu sana, welcome to Nairobi. Just yesterday, I crossed a milestone of raising 12 billion shillings before 2 months left. And I know revenue is something you know, because you've worked in revenue. Our own source collections are so important as devolved units, because when we depend on national allocations, there are always challenges. When I came into office, the highest that had ever been collected was 10 billion. 10.5. Our first year we hit 10.5. The next year I hit 12.8 as a historically, the highest figure ever. This year I'm aiming for 15 billion, and I promised my team, my staff, that they will get a 13th salary if they hit that 15 billion mark. And so many of them are out there. That's why I didn't want to interrupt them. Being led by the deputy governor and the CECs, the ministers, in different sub-counties leading revenue efforts, with the different revenue teams. And we don't just collect for the sake of collecting. We collect to serve the people. And that is why we always tell them that it's not about revenue collection, it's about service delivery. And for that, and making it efficient. We digitized all our revenue streams. We have no cash policy in the city. There's no payment you can make in cash in Nairobi County, none. And I tell the public, if you pay in cash, you've paid that person there, not the county government. And we're very happy that the citizens are feeling it, and the citizens are actually really complying. And you've had great experience in your revenue authority and in that area. And those are some of the things we'd like you to even tell us, how to build that. Our Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so does man sharpen man. So these interactions are for sharpening. And I really wish we could do exchanges with your cities, exchanges with our your districts or your regions, between ourselves and those in Uganda, as we strengthen the high-level engagements between our parties. So welcome again, feel at home. Anytime you come to Nairobi, just know you're at home, because I know you come often. I'm sure you come often, because you are just here. So feel at home. Welcome, Bona SG.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and I thank you, Comrade Secretary General, and all our delegations. Thank you for your staff, and thank you for the warm reception we have received ever since we came to Nairobi, from yesterday and today, and what a wonderful parade I've just inspected. We are grateful for the invitation that the UDA party sent to us. we came on behalf of the National Resistance Movement Party to deepen our collaboration and to follow up on the discussions that we had in Kampala when you were there. We've had meetings with the party leadership at the party head office. This morning we had a very deep discussion with the Economic Forum, and we look forward for further discussions. Our purpose of coming is, of course, to strengthen the party-to-party relations and also to promote government-to-government relationship and people-to-people. It's only through that we can strengthen our neighborhood and our coexistence. I congratulate you for being elected as the first born governor of the city and also for the good work you are doing. In everywhere we go, a city is always a city. It has a lot of uniqueness. And I'm happy that you're on top of the game and you're increasing on your revenue collections and improving on the services that you offer to your people. We believe that we shall learn a lot from you as people. And I would also like to request that at an appropriate time, we send our city leaders to come and learn from Nairobi City, because you have a lot of experiences that you can give to them. We have created new cities in Uganda, apart from Kampala as the main city, but we also have other satellite cities. And we feel that these other satellite cities can come and learn from Nairobi and see how you do planning, resettlement, and provide social services to the population of the city. We are aware that Nairobi has one of the biggest slums in the region. We want to learn on the policies you have on handling the urban poor. Just like you said, when the urban population have nothing to eat, they become a little more aggressive and hostile. So we want to know how you've been able to manage this, that Nairobi has been very peaceful ever since you came into office. I've been telling my comrade, the Secretary General, and the leaders of UDA that these days we don't see Nairobi in news or Kenya in news. That means things are going on well. In the recent past, it was almost every day that you're seeing something happening in Kenya. But we thank you so much, and we thank that you are blending so well with the young people. I always tell my young people in Uganda that being young is a blessing, but also it's a transition. If you miss a step of building yourself while young, you will end up living a poor life while an old man. So building a step towards growing old is the blessing you have when you're young. And so I'm happy that you have brought so many young people to work with you and to support your leadership. And congratulations for them. We always say young people are always not patient, but I know these ones are very calm and patient. For them, they want it now. They have no time to waste. But we thank you for grooming them and for mentoring many of them, and also for love that they have for the party. The UDA party is a young party that needs a lot of support, a lot of encouragement. I am here with very technical people from my party. That gentleman runs a political school in the country, and it's the school that has mentored very many leaders in the region and in the party especially. We have all passed through that school. So we came with him so that we can encourage some of your young cadres to come and have some learning with us. This gentleman, Awich Paula, is the Director of External Relations at the party. He's also an historical person. He fought in the Liberation War. He was a Kadogo. He fought, went back to school, became a lawyer. Now he's a very powerful man. So he has a lot of stories to share with the young people. So we are grateful for being in Nairobi. Thank you for the hospitality, and thank you for the host. And thank you, Comrade Secretary General. As we were entering here, I was reminding him, in 1998 I was here as a very radical student leader from Makerere University. By that time, Moi had banned student movement in Nairobi University. So they invited us as mercenaries to come and jumpstart. So one of the places we were walking around, because I had never been to Nairobi. So him and other colleagues were taking us around to see Nairobi, to say, that's why I remember that building. Because that was a building they showed us that this one is the signature building of Nairobi. So, and then you took us to Akamba bus station. I think it was around down somewhere. So I remember we were walking around here as we were planning to launch our attack in the evening. So that is how I know about the place, and thank you so much. I might invite my colleagues to say a few words if they have any, and just to greet you out of courtesy. But we are grateful for the host and grateful for the invitation, and we look forward for further deeper engagement.
And thank you for reviving Sonu. Yes. Because then we had Sonu 98. I was later then a student leader at the University of Nairobi.
It was very dangerous. Yeah. They should thank these ones.
Yeah. I think you're with Ted that time. Ted Manuve and that team. Yes. Mm. Karl Marx. Yeah. Now, if you walk around Nairobi today, you'll get lost. It's changed. It has changed. It has changed completely. Yeah, and I think the issue of the party school is really important.
Your Excellency, sir, Right Honorable Secretary Generals, distinguished audience, once again, I'm Kano Okeiru Kogota, Director, National Leadership Institute. First, I get amazed by your coat of arms.
So the crane.
Yeah, those, one of our leaders here, earlier on, remarked that if there were to be an immediate integration of countries, it would be Uganda and Kenya to lead the way. And if Uganda and Kenya led the way, this coat of arms would provide to the designers what they should do, because there is the crested crane for Uganda and the lions for Kenya. The National Leadership Institute is not something you haven't been experiencing historically. The zeal with which our forefathers led the struggle for independence was supposed, after independence, to continue and earn us prosperity, because colonialism was leading us to grief. Had it continued, we would have perished. So the historical mission of the people who fought for colonialism was to ensure prosperity. However, once in power, most of our leaders stuck with the baggage of colonialism in the form of ideologies, mindsets, laws, infrastructure, and modes of production, all of which were supposed to sustain colonialism, and thus couldn't lead independent countries to prosperity. So in many countries, they tried to get a fundamental change, transformation. However, some of the leaders were not able to lead our countries to prosperity, and this bad beginning is what they called the false start of Africa. Tons of literature have been written about it, and a lot of discussion went on about that since the 60s up to today. Suffice to say that the false start led to what was called the lost decades, which were decades of socio-economic stagnation, socio-economic and political upheavals in Africa. So, given Uganda's background, after independence, there was a need to think and find out what was the problem and how to address the problem. The people who were behind that thinking ended up realizing that they had to change government, especially when Idi Amin came, who caused the disintegration of the East African community, and also the disintegration of our small enclave economy. Analysis was zeroed to be OPS, oneness of the Africans, without which no single country can get out of economic doldrums. P, prosperity of all the African people. And S, the security of the Africans so that they don't perish. And all of these are intertwined, interrelated, and interdependent, the three. And at NARI, to conclude, we engage into the continuation of the discourse of finding out what is to be done, how is it to be done. Who owns the power? Who are the sovereigns in our country? What are their interests? How to address their interests and the way forward. The same involves political education, ideological orientation, because identifying social problems, social conditions, and addressing them. And ideology that help you to find the correct action program. We also engage in familiarizing and sharing perspectives about how to detect within our own organizations, within government, political parties. We also investigate methods of work, united, pursuing an objective as patriotic people of one country and Pan-Africanists. We also pursue studies on the laws that govern the development of society, because it has been found out that society doesn't advance from one economic status to a higher one, bila mpango. It does so by the leaders consciously leading the majority, the whole of the people, towards certain goals in a certain specific circumstances, opportunities, scientific way. So it is scientific, but must be mass-based. So Saturday is led by His Excellency the President, who is the Chancellor of Chankwanzi of the National Leadership Institute, started from the inviting all Kenyans and Africans to team up. You are already doing it, only that yours is not.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. As my Secretary General said, I'm a lawyer, and I'm a member of Uganda Law Society as well. To share with you one secret that you may not know, that lazy lawyers always, when they're not prepared, they come of my land friends, and I have nothing more useful to add. But in my case, Your Excellency, have been said, and I have nothing more useful to add.
Was already an introductory lecture. Party school in China, and we wanted to set up one here. Now the problem in Kenya has been that our party
for a long time, people saw parties like vehicles, not like homes. So a vehicle, just like the one you came with, left you at the door, you win your parliamentary seat or your governor's seat and you leave the vehicle out. But if it's a home and a house, you build it. You know, you look at who comes into the house, is the house clean? You know, raising them well. And I think that is where we want to go as UDA, you know, to institutionalize a party, to institutionalize these institutions of governance and democracy. And so we have a lot to learn from you, because you're now more than, I think, 40 years old as a party. And as you've said, our party is a young party. But I'm hopeful that 40 years from now, we are still going to be in our party. And it's going to be thriving and leading, you know, our people and our country. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for those remarks. SG, would you like to say something? I know you've been with them the whole day, but and from yesterday.
Asante. Mine is just to, again, like I always, extend my warmest gratitude for hosting the Secretary General with such high accolade. I think it is consummate to the respect that the office holds both in Uganda and what we are trying to uplift here in Kenya, to give some centrality to party as a factor for organizing our politics and disciplining our politics. We were at the Economic Council, and Professor D, Dr. D did actually tell my brother Todwong here that in Kenya we hardly have parties, we have formations. Yes. That after every successive election, parties either rebrand or shift and new formations emerge, and that's where there's hardly continuity in terms of inculcating an ideology or a political standpoint that reflects on some kind of idea. That's why our politics is hardly idea-based. It is largely ethnicity as a unit for political organization or mobilization. We're very hopeful at some point that we can remove Moi through the student movement. Some of us, he knows, we went back to ask whether we can be trained. You know, I just come, I was also fresh from the Kenya Military Academy. So I had read many articles on Sankara. And at that time, Yahya Jammeh had just, around the same time, had overthrown the Gambia. So I remember some of your colleagues were telling, his colleagues were telling me how it would be probably easier to build from the fronts in the west and come into Nairobi. We were discouraged, we were told we would be decimated and buried very young. And because such organizations take very long to form. So now we are lucky, we have a political organization that both of you and ourselves, like Honorable Governor Sakaja, find ourselves in. And we might not be youthful anymore, but we are fairly youthful still, in one way or another. And I hope that we can now create the tiers of transition, that from ourselves we move to the next transition. Yesterday I was commending the selection panel in the IBC, yes, that from the coast, we have the nominee, so proposed by the president, is actually just a 32-year-old girl. Oh, is that so? Young lady, absolutely. Oh. And the president has appointed, from the coast region largely, a 33-year-old ambassador, when the name of our PS Transport, KB, was 35 years old. Yes. So what we are trying to do is to also build our reservoir for youthful leadership that then takes a transition. You know, to create a leader, and it's not a coincidence even in Governor Sakaja, it takes about 10 years, or even to create a successful business. Yes. The turnaround time is about 10 years. So you would hardly find a business that has grown overnight, unless in the ICT world or during COVID or a theft enterprise, you know. So that said and done, I'm grateful for our counterparts coming here to at least start a conversation with us. And the other day, also in my capacity as Secretary General, largely because of two fronts. One is about party building, and secondly is about the party school. I hope you are aware that the party has bought 5 acres of land in the Karen area of Nairobi. and we are already appointed a resource mobilization and development committee, largely to put together that party headquarters and the party school. And secondly is to also create what is it called, a curriculum, or what is it, a curriculum committee or some program committee, working committee to start also internalizing what are the kind of co-curriculum aspects we can have. Largely because, and this is with a lot of respect to young people, you have all just, there's hardly any revolutionary, just content creators. When you're trying to say something extreme, you're just trying to create content so that you can push the. That's why these days I hardly attend media interviews. Apart from one or two who I find extremely weighty, the rest I will just try to create content out of you by thinking there are some kind of a Woot Blitzer or Farid Zakari, or try to put you to task so that later on they can take that clip. Is the government not stealing? So that they can take, then how do you answer that question? Are you saying it is right to kill people? And you're like, okay, what the hell is wrong with this young man? Yeah. So before you realize, the other day, during the political conversation we were having under this CMD, Center for Multi-Party Democracy, I saw some cameras going up, the same way I'm seeing that one, and then I'm thinking, why is this camera coming up just for my session? And the guy positioned himself so well between us, only to do his spoken word. And then immediately after he had done it, his camera went down. And the next thing, by the next hour, he just posted it as content as to how he has told of a government where they were seated there, very uneasy. He doesn't realize that we were also not shut up. We've come through a very, very difficult and very challenging. I look at some of the things and I'm like, does this young man think we just got here, Komchezo? Professor Kindiki and I were also classmates. I was showing the Njuri Cheke when they came to meet me from Tharaka, the pictures I was with. Yeah, out of God, it is also patience and resilience. So I'm thinking, how is this young man going to make, or woman going to make his political career simply by creating content on TikTok? Get some likes. He's going to grow up. You grow up, you know that. Resilience is about your transitions. So when you grow up, are you going to be able to make the same content? And the last one is the quality of education we have in this country. The elitary has received a very good cultural education. The masses, as we were saying it have not quite been as fortunate. We need to create quality education. Otherwise, those with education will continue to roll over those without it. The ones who are being inculcated to be leaders are in top schools, top universities, they are being created into an all-round citizen. Huyu anafundishwa kutukana. You are a parent. I hold you with a lot of respect. But unakuja kwa social media unatukana wanaume wenzako. At your age of 40, 45, you see Sachs has posted something. You go and say something so obscene, and you wonder. Then in the cover or in the status, you have your daughter or your son, and I'm thinking, poor little boy. If your father can do this, I'm not sure what he's going to do to you in terms of what he's inculcating. At least if it's a ghost account, I can know these are bots as a Shafi trying to defend him. But if it is a real account, you have to be quite brave to do that. So a lot of these young people also are being taught by social media. I don't mind social media. I love it. I download it all the time. I look at what is going on. But I had created a culture of reading myself. We are not prophets. We are not messiahs. We don't get divine revelation. You improve yourself by reading. That's why, what's he called? Ubasanjo used to say that a good leader is a good reader. So wewe umesoma brochure moja, umekasirika kweli kweli juu ya uchumi. You're not asking yourself what's the grounding, and then you go commenting about it. You become an authority, and because almost all media houses have become content creators, you allow such falsities and disinformation to fly. anyway, to conclude that, I think that's why we want to go and have some of these conversations in the National Leadership Institute, where we can create Kenyans who can take this country to the next frontier. It is easy to know who our allies are in terms of our South-South cooperation. You know me, when I was in the Human Rights Commission, Shafi knows me, I was so black. Aspirational black, because I believed it is at that time for people of this continent to show what they have. But we need that synergy and that Pan-Africanism. That's why sometimes when I watch a marathon or Olympics and I see a young Shari Richardson winning, and somebody is so distraught, she's not American, she's African first and foremost. So even if we win it here with Kemboi, and she wins it, I'm like, oh, this is just our little sisters or our daughters just winning the same thing. You know, that's the kind of black consciousness we were creating, that anything black should be good. So whether it's from Haiti, from Jamaica, from anywhere else, that we embrace it. So when I look at the French national team, and I see 9 young black men making a living and lifting the French trophy, I'm like, wow, we have won. So I think that's why we look at the successes. So we build up Pan-Africanism that also goes beyond the African continent and region. So these are the we want to have, and with our brothers here. And I think Saks is, okay, we call him Sakaja, Governor Sakaja. You know, when he's quite fairly grounded in terms of his information base and his generation of ideas. When you listen to Governor Sakaja, you are not left in doubt that it is knowledge-based leadership and not just an emotive. That's why I think you've been able to attack a significant number of the problems of challenges of Nairobi. And these young people might be young, but they have that grounding in their professional trades that have responded. Otherwise, I don't think it can just be by yourself. It must be. A good leader usually is made, or somebody is made to look good by the team he or she keeps. I always see bad people, and I'm like, so I look at the people they are keeping, and I'm like, oh my God, these are such bad people. That's why that guy looks so bad. That was always my SI unit of assessing an individual. So when I see a good aura, friendly aura, if the way you say, the way you dress, you know that it's somebody, a whole team playing to it. Because these young people can even come and tell you what you did yesterday was bad. So please don't do it again. And still walk away like the Gen Z and feel she has spoken her mind. And you'll take it as a friend. I don't want to belabor and go on and on. I think, Right Honorable Richard Todwong, thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you too for putting up with us on such short notice, because I think I just told you a day or two ago, and you said they did well for us. We will reciprocate. So thank you very much, and thanks. Shafi, you said that this event looks good because of you. Okay, thank you, Shafi. In a light touch.
I'll give you. No, thank you so much, SG. And you have said a lot of truths. An administration or a government, you must have the right teams. You know, I have 19,000 staff here at City Hall, and within the city, 19,000 of them, with different culture, different motivation, different ideology, and you have to steer it. And what you said is true. The noise that used to be in Nairobi, in this building has never been a full year of peace. We even had a police post inside our assembly, and there are bullet holes on the walls, and the councillors would fight with chairs and whatnot. And see, when we got in, I took stock of the political situation. Fortunately, I had been the senator of Nairobi before, for a few years, and I knew how to start. But it starts with your team. So even amongst my, CECs, my Council of Ministers, yes, I have young ones, but I also have, so Susan was the youngest CEC in the country, and she became Minister at 28, and yes, I think that patience you said she didn't have before, but she was aspirational because she vied against me for Senate when she was 23. And she was a candidate against me for Senate. And I think she decided to slow down, come learn, and then, I don't know, she might challenge me in the future. Not soon, I hope. But in that same council of ministers, I have one who started working here the day before I was born. And is now my minister. So I have that entire mix, of the older and the younger. I myself, got into leadership quite young. I was chair of a national party at 27 years old, actually. And became an MP at 28, senator at 32, and you're right, it takes time. It takes time to grow, it takes time to learn, it takes time to, I keep saying if I was straight away when I got into politics, made a governor, I'd be the worst governor ever, because you don't have the patience, you need to understand many things, when it comes to leadership and that. And that's why I'm really keen on that institution and that party school. There you can count on our support, to actually build it. Because we need a leadership factory on our continent. Sure. We need leadership factory. If you look at, in February I was meeting the World Bank, and they gave me a very stark statistic that in the 50s, 22% of the world's population was in Europe, only 7% in Africa, in the 50s. Now it has completely turned. By 2050, 1 out of 4 people will be Africans. 25% of the world will be on our continent, and only 7% will be in Europe. And so that gives us, there's an urgency, because that is only in 25 years. It's a short time from now. And so the things we do today must future-proof our cities and our countries. Remember, at that time, 65% of everybody on the continent will be living in cities, So Kampala and all the other cities in Uganda, Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa. And so that is why a huge focus on cities is really important, both by political leadership, government leadership, because that is where the future is, And so you need to have that factory churning out that product that takes 10 years to produce, or 5 years, you must start producing it in different spheres of influence, even down to the schools. We must actually be able to influence them. And so we need this conversation in other African countries as well. Kenya and Uganda are a natural partner. We need to talk to our friends in South Africa. We need to talk to our friends in Tanzania. We need to talk to our friends in Ghana, in Nigeria. And, I tried to create something when I was a member of parliament. I led the Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association. And later on, we gave birth to the Africa Young Parliamentarians Association that is led by, actually, a Kenyan MP. Yes, it is still there. I revived KYPA, it is still there. But even during KYPA, you'd get very many young, confused people coming up. I once hosted someone from your country, and I told him, my friend, slow down. Let's take time to learn. And I think that's the last time he ever looked home, because he's never been told that. I told him, So these days I see him hanging around with other similar miscreants in the city of Nairobi. And I'll tell you who that is later. Because this leadership is not just, everybody wants to be a president. But what it takes to be a president, it's not just being elected. There are certain things that become ingrained in you over time. It is your muscle memory. It is your wisdom, how to make a decision, what you think is your gut. It's not your gut, it's conditioning over different situations, how to make a decision. Right now, if you take your car, Senator Hassan, and drive to Hurlingham, you might reach there and ask yourself, wait a minute, did I stop at the first light? How did I turn? Because it is so ingrained in you, you just do it. It is your muscle memory. Sometimes you wonder, how did I get here? I don't remember. But you did the right thing at every step. So that leadership does take time. So I'm there with you on the Pan-African way of looking at things. It is very important. I lead a consortium of mayors and governors on the continent around climate change. I'm the global vice chair. The chair is the London mayor, but I'm the chair for Africa. And we use that sitting, and we sit with many leaders from the continent to talk more beyond just climate. We talk about what is the future of our cities, what is the future of our countries. Some of my colleagues are now running for president, like in Sierra Leone, the mayor of Freetown, Ivona Kisoya, is now running to be president. She has a good chance. I have another friend who is also running soon. And it is just that factory of building leadership, you know. So I know today you are also supposed to meet our president. Unfortunately, he's had to travel. He has to travel, and I just got that message from them. But I would really look forward when the meeting happens, when you come next time, to be part of that meeting. Because here also, people just think he Biden got it. But from the early 90s, you know, from, 80s even when he was in school, you could, if you listen to what he used to say those days, you could tell this is a man on a mission. And he's looking to something. You don't just happen upon leadership, you don't just happen upon it. And so when that meeting comes, because I was honored to be at in the delegation that met President Museveni, who filled us with wisdom. I think I've never taken notes like that. I scribbled and scribbled and scribbled, because he told, and I remember everything he said, including pointing out my relatives from from Uganda. So when that happens, and unfortunately, our president has had to leave. I'm sure SG, you know that. But I hope that even as you continue with your stay, please let us do that connection. There's so much in urban planning that I'd love to discuss with your cities. There's so much about solid waste management. Right now we're doing a waste to energy factory, and I will show you out there. But the same team that has come here then has come to Uganda, and they're in discussions with Entebbe and Kampala to also do something similar. There's nothing new under the sun. The challenges we went through, Shakespeare says in the Hamlet, the truly wise is he who learns from another's mishap. You don't have to go through the same challenge Nairobi has gone through. And I don't have to go through the same challenge Cape Town went through, or Lagos. We can learn from each other, and we must always encourage that. So SG, asante sana. I have a gift for you, Right Honorable, so that you don't, since you remember Nairobi, this one is the photographic slices. This one is for Hassan. Give him the UDA colors. This book will take you through and then inside it, there's also one which has personal stories. The next one I will give you will be the future of Nairobi City. So thank you so much. One for my SG as well. This is a new legal. Yes. So I think we need to do a